Hello to all of you Python programmers who love this programming language. Thank you for being with me in this educational video, actually, in this exercising video. Okay, these are the exercises that I have planned for this season. Like the previous chapter, I have provided two solved and unsolved. I suggest that you first solve the exercises with your own thoughts and then compare with the solved file. Of course, like the previous chapter, I have kept the outputs for you, and you can compare your outputs to find out whether they are correct or incorrect. Okay, let me give you some explanations about the exercises. The first exercise, the first exercise is separate the following string using a comma, semicolon, colon, and white space separators. And this is the string. In the first exercise, we also want the separators themselves. The second exercise is reproduce the string with the same delimiters, once the values, once the separators, and once again I said reproduce the string with the same separators. The third one is in a desired folder in your system, return the files with the requested extensions if present. First we check whether these files exist or not, then we check the presence of files with IPy notebook and txt extensions. Note that the output you receive may be different depending on your system and the files in the current working directory. And the fourth exercise is from the following data generate the desired output. The data is available here. You should get this output based on the ID of people who are in an institution. Here we have considered programmers whose programming language was Python. Next time, those programmers are considered whose first two digits of ID are 12. The fifth exercise, for the following string, write the appropriate regular expression to produce the desired output. We have done a similar exercise during the training. The exercise 6, in the above string, extract all the dates and change their format as below. We have done something similar during the training courses too, referring to the RE module and compile, and you should only use find iter instead of find all methods. Search about this method and read the relevant explanations yourself. You can visit this page among the documentations of the Python site itself. In solving this exercise, you also need a for loop. Inside the calendar module, you have a function that summarizes the names of the months. If you give it the number of corresponding to each month, it will print the name of that month in the output. Okay, exercise 7 says, in the following string, find the required expression and make the required substitutions. Here we want to use a find all and sub. Excuse me. Here first we want to find Pythons whose first letter is small p. Then replace the word Java with the word Python, regardless of whether the first letter of this word is uppercase or lowercase. Then we want to create a proportionality between the smallness or capitalization of the first letters of the two words Python and Java, on which a displacement is done. In this exercise, we must use inner functions. Exercise 8 says, Write a regular expression to find the longest and shortest sequences between two star signs. Once you write a regular expression to return the longest distance, and once an expression with a rule, once a regular expression to return the shortest distance. Exercise 9 says that generate the phrase Udemy using the appropriate Unicode. You should search for the Unicode for each letter. Actually, you can use the compared site. Exercise 10. Make the following expressions in two different ways and compare them. Then normalize and compare again. Produce Starsberg in a different way. This exercise is a continuation of Unicode. In order for the output of the comparison S1 and S2 to be false, the production method these strings must be different. Then normalize the strings and compare the outputs again. Okay, exercise 11. Remove the sounds on the letters. It is a continuation of the previous exercise. We have done more than this during training. Exercise 12. Create a map to convert Persian numbers or Unicode characters representing numbers in general. You must solve this exercise using Translate. Here it is necessary to pay attention to the instructions that I have written in the comment. Pay attention to this digit and category and this ND. If you want to check whether the Unicode you wrote is related to numbers or not, you should take advantage of this comment. Exercise 13. Put the requested variables in the order shown in the string below. We said that format and format map are optimal methods. Exercise 14. Tokenizing and filtering white spaces. We have given you an expression. Here you have to put the right tokens and you have to do a filter that doesn't show white spaces. Exercise 15 says perform the appropriate operations on the byte strings to produce the outputs shown. This is our last exercise. The first output is a string, the second is a byte, the third requires slicing, and the fourth requires a split. Finally, we have added a version to the programming languages in the string. So these are our exercises. Now that I have given the explanation, we will start solving the exercises. Pay attention that you can solve these exercises with these explanations and previous trainings. But in order to have a reference that contains the correct solutions, I myself will explain the optimal solutions in the continuation of this video. Okay, go to the solved file. The first exercise is a simple exercise. Add a new cell so you don't lose the outputs. Be sure to rerun the pre-written cells. We put parentheses to have capture group separators together with either or character we put. We want it to be considered as a separator again if there is white space after the sign. So we add this here. In the next part, we want to reproduce the string according to these separators. Now we have to join them. Because there is a separator for each value, you can use zip. We want to do the next exercise in the current working directory, as I mentioned before. Depending on the files in your system and folders, your output may be different. And now we want the txt files. Okay, and then we want to check whether the IPy notebook file exists in this path or not. In the next exercise, we must first import f and match case. Now we have a data that we need to run. Now we want those elements that include Python, and then we want the elements whose ID starts with 12. Information about different workshops is available in the next exercise. We want a Python workshop, so we define a pattern. We are looking for PyW and a white space and 3 numbers separated by a forward slash. The next exercise is a continuation of this exercise. We want to change the format because we want to access internal elements. We use capture group. Now you can use iter in this exercise. Actually, this function returns an iterable that you can print its different groups. And next, I wanted you to learn another new thing. I have given different groups to the sub function to be replaced. I have given you a guide in the next exercise. Initially, we wanted the placement to be only for Pythons that starts with a lowercase p. Finally, we wanted to apply it to all Python words. The last task is to use the internal function. Let me explain a little about the internal function. Suppose we have the power number function. This 2 is a number that is going to reach in power. P2 is a function that we have to give a number to this function. To know how many powers this 2 is going to reach, that is when we run power number, power n is returned, which is an internal function. This P2 is the power n. Actually, it takes the power input and returns the final result. This is how built-in functions work. This is how inner functions work. Now we created the subcase function so that we can do this placement correctly and optimally. We want that if Python starts with a lowercase letter, Java starts with a lowercase letter, and if Python starts with an uppercase letter, Java starts with an uppercase letter too. Sub specifies that Java will sit instead of Python. This A is the result of all Pythons found. When we write re.sub, the first thing we do is find all available Pythons, similar to the next exercise that we have done before. In the next exercise, we have to search for the Unicode Unicodes corresponding to each letter and write them in the string. We go to the next exercise. For this exercise, you can get help from the Compart site and the file format.info. Actually, I did a normalization here. We have enough knowledge of the next exercise. If we use if, the vowel sign will be returned to us. We want exactly the opposite, and then we use if not. In the next exercise, we want a mapping that takes Persian numeric characters. The digit method returns the digit value, and the category method returns the overall category. If we give the integer to the digit method, if we get an integer to the digit method, we will get an error because it is not a Unicode. Finally, we make this map, but this has a problem. There is a problem because it does not belong to the range of digits. We find the ASCII code of 0 and add it to the output of the digit method. That means that the digits starts from 48. Now we want to map these. In the next exercise, we will use format map. In the next exercise, we want to tokenize the existing expression. We make a pattern, then we create a tuple, the pointer that has been added here to the tutorial in actually comparison with what we have said during the tutorial is the filtering of white spaces. The beauty of the positive side of these named tuples is that we have names for the elements in named tuples. We go to the last exercise actually, which of course does not need further explanation. These are obvious. Okay, thank you for being with me so far. The last exercises of this training course have ended. I still recommend that you stay tuned because the main part of this educational package will start from the next video. Until now, we were in the training phase and only tried to gather the codes that were embedded to achieve the result, but from now on we enter the real world of programming. The world is full of computer bugs, and debugging them is a very specialized and important task. In the next videos, I will teach you many examples of these bugs and how to debug them. I promise you that if you follow the training videos in my collection, you will become one of the best Python programmers and also one of the most professional debuggers in the world. So I emphasize again that you stay with us and don't miss the updates of the series. I wish you the best.